Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining today's exclusive webinar with Queen Mary University of London, the Malta campus. Today's webinar will be going on for 1 hour. In the first 20 to 30 minutes, we will have the presentation and then we'll move on to the Q&A session. For the Q&A session, you'll be able to type the questions and we'll be answering them one by one. Today, we have Miss Elaine, Miss Chanel, and Taylor from the Queen Mary University of London and Malta. So over to you, Miss Elaine, Miss Chanel.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sarah. So I'm going to start with sharing my presentation. Thank you. So as you yourself said, this is about studying medicine in Malta at the Queen Mary University of London, but the Malta campus. I think one of the questions that we get asked most often is why Queen Mary University of London, a British university, decided to open a campus here in Gozo and Malta. For those who don't know much about Malta, Malta was ruled by the British for a very long time, and we're a Commonwealth country, so we have that deep and historic link to the UK. And this is reflected in many things. It is reflected in the healthcare system. It is reflected in our languages as well. So we have two languages. Two national languages. One is Maltese, which when you hear it, it sounds like a Semitic language, but then has a lot of influences from the Romantic languages, and we write it in Latin script as well. And then we've also got English as a second national language, and that means that the vast majority of the population is bilingual and speaks English fluently. There's also excellent communication links with the rest of the world. And a system which I mentioned before, a healthcare system, which is very similar to the NHS. It is modeled after the NHS care system. But it's also an excellent healthcare system. It was ranked 5th in the world by whom? And also the country's drive to upgrade and expand its medical care falls in line sort of with what the university wants and expects. I'm going to move now to talk about the course structure and sort of what you would expect to study over the 5 years if you join us here in Gozo. So the curriculum is identical to that delivered in London in Queen Mary University. And it's so much identical that our students do the same assessments at the same time as the London students. And for those who don't know anything about sort of the Queen Mary curriculum, it's identified by some major points. One of them is the early in-depth clinical experience. So you'll have placements starting from year 1, and you'll have patient contact from year 1. Another factor is problem-based learning, which is PBLs in short, and you'll have PBLs during the first 2 years. And for PBLs, what you have is that the cohort, which is already small, is divided into smaller groups. So you'll be groups of 6 to 8 persons maximum. And under the guidance of a tutor, every week you get assigned a scenario, which is tied to the teachings of that week. And you need to research to present that scenario, and it builds on your teamwork skills, your research skills, and communication skills as well. And students find it helpful for their learning as well. You have a lot of practical sessions, and you start dissections right from the start in year 1. You have practical sessions in a variety of areas. You have physiology, histology, you have clinical skills, communication skills, and anatomy. And you also have an opportunity to undertake an intercalated degree at Queen Mary London. So for those of you who maybe do not know what an intercalated degree is, it's an opportunity for you to take a year off, usually some between year 3 and year 4, and you go and study for a BSc or an MSc. And then at the end, when you graduate with both the MBBS and the bachelor's or the master's, depending on what you studied. So our curriculum is what we call the spiral curriculum. If you look at the green picture on the top left-hand corner, you'll see that the 5 years are divided into 3 phases. Phase 1 is years 1 and 2, and during those years, you're mostly lecture-based, and you're mostly on campus. And for the lectures, you're taught via a series of systems-based modules. So um, you'll have, for example, in year one, you'll start with 9 weeks of fundamentals of medicine. That's one module, and then you'll move on to other modules like cardiorespiratory, loco, and so on. And then in the second year, you revisit those modules, but you're focusing on systems and disease. So an easy way to explain this is, for example, in cardiorespiratory, in year one, you'll be studying the heart, and then, excuse me, and then during the second year, you'll be focusing, for example, on diseases like cardiac arrest. You also have medicine and society during the first 2 years. In medicine and society is where you get to do placements. The first year is sessions with a GP, and then during the second year, you go to General Hospital, which is the hospital here just across the road from the campus, and you do sessions with allied health professionals. You also get to go to St. Vincent de Paul, which is the geriatric facility. And there you're also working within the wider team. So you get an idea this is not just doctors and nurses, but there's a wider hospital team that takes care of the patient. So let's say physiotherapists, nutritionists, just to name two. You also get to do two SSCs, student selected components per year. So the SSCs are 2 weeks long each. You get to sort of shape the course during your SSCs. So you get to choose from a long list of SSCs. We have SSCs in diving medicine and the maternity ward and pharmacology and dissection. So you can either use this SSC to explore different areas and sort of get an idea of whether would be something that you would like to specialize on, or some students already know what they want to do, and this would be sort of the perfect opportunity to delve deeper into that particular area. And then moving to phase 2, which is years 3 and 4. So whereas during the years 1 and 2, you're mostly on campus, years 3 and 4, you're mostly on placements in hospital. We've got 4 teaching hospitals. We've got Gozo General Hospital and then 3 other teaching hospitals in Malta, and also the health centers around the islands to do your GP placements. You'll obviously come back to the campus for further teaching and assessments. And these 2 years sort of enable you to expand and apply the skills and the knowledge that you learned during your first 2 years. And then moving on to phase 3, which is year 5, and it's the home stretch. You're essentially quite ready to become a doctor. But during this year, you're going to really get the knowledge of what it means to be an FY1 doctor. So you're tied with an FY1 doctor during your practice. The core curriculum is always taking place in Malta, but during SSCs in year 5, you can do the medical placements either in Malta, you can go to England or London or in your home country if you wish, and you can do the SSC there. During the SSCs in years 1, 2, and 5, there's also an exchange program. So our students can go to London and the London students can come here to do their SSCs, sort of either in London or in Malta. So we've had 3 graduating cohorts so far. We've had a 100% pass rate in all 3 cohorts. And at the end, they've all graduated with a GMC recognized MBBS degree from Queen Mary University of London. And they've all gone to work with the NHS. So they're doing their foundation year programs in the UK, irrespective of where they came from. Now I'm going to talk a bit about facilities and our campus. So our campus is situated in Victoria. Victoria is the capital city of Gozo, and the campus is on the grounds of the Gozo General Hospital. Rather than me talking about our campus and our facilities, we have a short video from one of our students who'll be showing you around our campus and telling you all about our facilities.
Hello, my name is Chris Patel, a second year medical student at Queen Mary, University of London, Malta campus, and today I'll be giving you all a tour of the state-of-the-art facilities we have on campus. So the campus is in the grounds of Gozo General Hospital. Behind me is the Anatomy Centre. Just across the road is the Gozo General Hospital, where we have our placements from year one, and I'm just now walking into the entrance of the university.
Bring other stuff.
At Queen Mary, Malta, we follow the same curriculum as London, which means that the degree at the end of the course is the same as our London colleagues as well. This is the lecture theatre where most of our teaching takes place. And what I really like most about it is the fact that our lectures are all recorded, which means that we can look back at them at a future date. This is the clinical skills suite, which is set up as a proper hospital ward. This is where we learn to perform different examinations, such as the abdominal or a cardiovascular examination, as well as where our OSCEs take place as well. We have a range of mannequins we can practice a variety of skills on, such as drawing blood, inserting a catheter, practicing CPR, as well as using an AED. This is one of the two PC labs where you can come and do your work. What's really good about the PC lab is you don't have to bring your laptop, and also the fact that there are a wide variety of online resources, such as Oracle, which is an online question bank, and virtual primary care, where you can look at a range of consultations. This is also where the end of year exams take place as well. This is a library where most of the students come to study, and we have a wide variety of books which we can use to help supplement our lecture content. So this is the canteen. Getting a morning cappuccino here is a must. This spot just outside the canteen is my favourite spot on campus to hang out with my friends. In 3 years' time, I hope to graduate from the Citadel just behind me, which is where the graduation ceremony takes place. This is our anatomy centre, where we have all of our anatomy practicals. What the anatomy practicals consist of is going through different stations, and what I really like is we have different models, we have different computers which we can use as well as having different pro sections out at the time of the practical. One of the most important things is the fact that we get to do cadaveric dissection from year one, which I think is very important, as it's a very new and very interesting experience for us, because the fact that we get to see a human body as well as dissect it, which is very important in giving us appreciation for the human body. This is one of our PBL classrooms. PBL stands for problem-based learning and is a fundamental part of the curriculum here. We are divided into 6 groups within the year, and we get given a new case every week. This is the SAPS office, which stands for Student Academic and Pastoral Support, which is where you can come to talk about personal or academic issues, as well as the team being a friendly face on campus. Just down the hall from the SAPS office is the SAPS Common Room, where they organise different activities such as board games, yoga, and one-off baking sessions as well. This is one of the 2 common rooms we have on campus, with the other being on the top floor where the canteen is. What I really like about this one is the fact that we can come and watch TV and sit on the sofas and relax, but just chill out on the beanbags or play some pool as well.
So I hope you enjoyed that short video and you got a clear idea of sort of our campus and our facilities. Now I'm going to talk briefly about studying and sort of living here in Malta for the 5 years that you're here. So sorry, at Queen Mary Malta, it's a small university. Currently, we have 296 students for all 5 years. We aim to recruit between 60 to 70 students per year. And that means that the students here form a tight-knit student community. It also means that it's an environment where the academics know each student by name, the staff know each student by name as well. And that means that every student has one excellent teacher to student ratio, but also personalized support and close mentoring. So you're getting that one-to-one attention. As a country, Malta itself is quite safe and enjoys a low level of crime, and we think that with such a difficult course such as medicine, it balances out and allows you to focus on studying and what really matters. And if you're looking at cost, the cost of living is much lower when you compare it to UK, European cities, to cities like Dubai as well. So if you're looking, for example, at rent, if you're sharing a 3-bedroom apartment, the rent would come out at 300 to 400 euro per month only, which is sort of the amount that a student would pay in London for a week. As a campus, we're very diverse. So across the 296 students that we have 58 58 nationalities from across the 6 continents. So it's a very, very diverse campus. We also have students who come from us with an undergraduate degree or students who have just finished high school. So there's a healthy mix of that as well. When you look at the island, I mean, even if you look at us on the map, we're like a dot on the map, just so that you get an idea. Gozo itself, you can cross the island in about 20 to 25 minutes, from side to side by car. So it's small. Malta then is bigger. But I think we do have a lot to offer. So we are one of Europe's top diving destinations, and we do have a lot of students who either dived before and sort of are taking this as an opportunity to continue diving, or they have taken up diving while they're studying here. Water sports are obviously also a top hit here. We have a lot of heritage sites. So if you look at the third photo on the right, that's Gigantea Temples. That's the oldest freestanding structure in the world, and it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. If you're interested in culture, I find that there is always something going on. I think suffice it to say, we have 2 opera houses on a small island like Gozo, and there's always concerts, village festas. I don't know, there is always something going on for all tastes. With regards to sports facilities, there are a lot of, I mean, you can go walking or hiking in 5 minutes, you'll be in nature. But there's also like a lot of gyms within walking distance of the campus. There's also facilities. For example, now they're building our first aquatic pool as well, so that will be available very soon. And with regards to nightlife, Gozo has a vibrant nightlife. We find that many students prefer to just take a ferry over to Malta. It's a short ferry ride, 20 minutes. And there are more bars and a more vibrant nightlife as well. What we've done for our students, and something that we're proud of, is that we've worked on a student and staff discount scheme. We have launched an app as well last year for this, and there are over 70 students, sorry, over 70 vendors available on this discount scheme, and students get discounts of up to 50%, and the vendors range from restaurants, gyms, spas, hotels, kayaking, diving centers. So there's something for everyone to try. So BLSA Malta, that's our student union, and they are the ones who sort of ensure that every student has an excellent student experience while here on campus. And they ensure inclusivity as well. They run a lot of events, and they also voice any concerns that students might have. They also oversee student society. So I know that we have Taylor with us here, and Taylor is a member of many societies. I'm sure she'll talk about it in detail later on. But these are just some of the student societies. We have over 32 societies, I think now, and they range from arts to culture to education. I think there's something for everyone. But if there's a society that you'd like to set up, it's very easy. And as I've said, the number of societies has been growing sort of exponentially over the last 2 years, which is very nice for us to see. And now I'm going to hand it over to Chanel. So Chanel is the admissions officer here in Malta, and she'll be talking about applying for the program.
Thank you, Elaine. So we have a range of qualifications that we do accept for the program. All students must take the UCAT and score within the third decile or above. For anyone who is interested in applying for September 25 entry, the cutoff is 2360. In the case that you haven't sat the UCAT exam this summer, that's okay because we are allowing students to sit the UCAT in the next available session, which will be available in the summer of 2025. If you are successful in interview, you would be made an offer on the basis that you would sit the UCAT among other conditions if applicable. Sorry. There would be a deadline as well to complete the UCAT. So it is very important that the UCAT is a part of your application. All students must be 18 at the start of the course. We don't allow students to enroll, and if you miss too much of the course, obviously you would be required to defer. So it's important that you have turned 18 or will be turning 18 in September of that year. We also look at the English language. Our most popular ones are GCSE English and also IELTS, although we do have a range of alternative English qualifications that we do accept that could be found on our website. For the minimum for the GCSE English is a 5, and the minimum for the IELTS score is a 7.0 overall, taken within 2 years. And then when it comes to academic qualifications, again, we accept a range of qualifications, but our main popular ones are the A levels, the IB, and the CBSC, and the ISC. So for the A levels, we require 3 A levels at AAA. We require an A in biology or chemistry. The second A needs to be in a second science. That could be chemistry, biology, physics, or maths. And then the third A could be in any other subject apart from critical thinking and general studies. For anyone taking the IB, we require 37 points overall with 665 in higher level subjects. Similar to the A levels, we look for biology or chemistry and a second science subject or math to be included. And then for those of you that are completing the central boards, CBSC or ISC and West Bengal boards as well, we look at 2 score sheets actually. So the standard 12, we require 85% in overall, including 85% in biology and chemistry. And then for the standard 10 score sheet, we look for an 80% in biology, chemistry, English, and maths. Sorry. So applications have already opened from the 3rd of September, and our first application deadline is the 28th of February. We encourage all of our applicants to apply as early as possible as competition is high. A good thing to know is the earlier you apply, the better chance for you to get made an offer first, because those who apply now will be interviewed with the first batch, and our interviews will start taking place either in December or January next year. And then following interviews, you would be made an offer within 2 weeks from your interview date. So it's very I would say it would secure you getting an offer if successful in interview if you were to apply as early as possible. So we do not form a part of UCAS. We don't take any of your UCAS options, but applications must be our applications are direct only, so I would encourage you to get in touch with Quadri International so that they can submit your application on your behalf. So along with your application, we look for your personal statement, your reference letter, a UCAT score sheet if you have already sat the UCAT, and your academic transcripts and or predicted grades, depending if you are conditional or unconditional. Then once you meet the minimum entry requirements, we then invite you to a panel-based interview, which will be held online via Zoom. It's about a 20 to 30-minute interview with 2 members of our academic staff or clinician staff. You will be sent an ethical article beforehand so that you read it and prepare for the interview, as you'll be asked questions around it, as well as other questions general competency questions. This is where your personal statement comes to play, because the personal statement forms as part of it's a way for the clinicians or the academics to interact with you, to get to know you better. So definitely make sure that you include any work experience you have, as this will be brought up in the interview. In addition to that, all students starting with us are classified as international, hence the international fees. And next year, for any students starting with us, the annual tuition fee is 37,500 euros for all students. So after graduation, after the 5 years, you will be awarded a Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery, abbreviated to MBBS, from Queen Mary University of London. There is no mention of the Malta campus on it. And then you are ready to practice as foundation year doctors. I'd like to include that so far it's been 100% pass rate, and all of our graduates have went on to complete their foundation years in the UK. With that said, junior doctor positions are available in the UK, similar to your London colleagues, but they are also available in Malta. However, to complete your foundation years in Malta, you would then need to pass a medical Maltese exam. We'll get into the details in a little bit. We do prepare students for their UK FPO applications from their 4th year, so that they can successfully go and complete their foundation years in the UK. And foundation positions are also available in other countries, but we would just ask that the student checks that the degree that you are receiving is accepted in the country that you want to practice in, and obviously that you have the right to live and work in that country. So this slide shows a few links which gives you more information. So the first link, qmul.ac.uk/Malta, will have more detailed information about the program, the entry requirements, and so much more. Study Medicine Malta is our student content hub, where we have a lot of blog posts about mostly things on student life, location, and learning. And then the last link, the joom.ag/5WBD, is our online interactive perspectives, which students find really useful as well.
I think that's our presentation. Thank you so much. And
All right. Thank you, Ms. Elaine and Ms. Chanel, for that very detailed presentation. So we'll move on to the Q&A session now. Students, you can type your questions, and to do that, you have to click on the button at the center bottom of your screen that says Q&A. We can already see some questions over here. So the first one is by Basma. Basma is asking, what is the average living cost there per month?
so I think, as I said, if you're looking at rent, it would be 300 to 400 euro per month if you're sharing sort of a 3-bedroom apartment. And then obviously it depends on your lifestyle as well. We do have a student tailor with us, and I think that she'd be very she can answer your question more because she's going through it.
Hi there, everyone. Yeah, I would agree with Elaine. Rent for me is around 300 euros, and that's for 3 of us together. And then a food shop would be like, I don't know, it could be like 50 to 80 euros. It really just depends if you like batch cook or you buy as you go along. But overall, in terms of how much I spend here in a month compared to the UK, it is cheaper. So I can't give one number exactly because it's so different for every person. But rent's about, and even bills are like 50 euros, and it'll be for 3 months. So in the grand scheme, it's not as much as you pay in the UK.
All right. Next question is by Vasia. What about scholarships?
So unfortunately, we don't have scholarships available, and students self-fund.
Okay. Hannah is asking, as for the UK MLA, is it an integral part of the grade?
Yes, it does. So we're a British university, and as the other British universities, our year five cohort now is doing the UKMLA as part of their final year exams. So that means that you don't need to do any other exams to apply for the UK FPO.
Okay, and I think this answers the next question by Mafaz. Is it GMC recognized?
It is, yes, it's a GMC recognized degree.
All right. Next question by Khizr. Khizr has done high school diploma following the general track, not the APs. Is he still eligible to apply?
For such specific questions, I think Zara, you would agree with me. It's best that they contact you. They send you a copy of their transcripts, and then you can get in contact with us if there are any questions, and we'll tell you if they're eligible or not.
Yes, for sure. I'll be dropping in our contact details, our contact number and the email ID, so you can definitely submit your documents or, get to know more. Next question is by Mafaz. Mafan, that's a repeated question again. Is the MBBS degree awarded by the WHO? All right. Question by Hannah. In case of conditional offer, the predicted grades of the students are A star, but the students get A, which still matches your requirements. Again, this is a very, um,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
case to case.
what they're asking is, but so our requirements are AAA. If you were predicted A star and then you got A, you're still meeting our entry requirements, so you would still meet the offer. I hope that answers the question.
I just also
Yes.
want to add, we wouldn't revoke your offer if you get anything less than your predicted, unless it's like a AAB. But and anyway, as long as you meet the AAA, then that would be fine.
All right. As I just said, dropping in the email and the contact number. Yeah. Question by Basma. What is the American curriculum requirements?
Yes. So we're just confirming you need 3 APs at 555 and a GPA of 3.3, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. Yes, I know it by heart. So it's a GPA of 2.3 and 3 APs at 555. And they must include biology or chemistry, obviously, in the second science subject.
All right. Question by Hannah. What really enforces the application and gives a higher chance of shortlisting?
It's a very good question. So if you meet our entry requirements, you're guaranteed an interview. So that will make an offer based on your interview score. So the interviews are what's important as well, if you get what I mean. So if you meet our entry requirements, you will get an interview, but then you really need to work at your interview and sort of make an impression at the interview as well.
All right. Vasya is asking, what if the AP score is 5, 3, and 3?
Unfortunately, that means that they don't meet our entry requirements because we need 5, 5, and 5.
All right. Hannah is asking, is the UCAT score used for the decision making?
So let's say you have a UCAT that doesn't meet our entry requirements. We allow you to retake the UCAT so that you do have the chance to meet our entry requirements. If you don't get the third decile, we wouldn't be able to pursue your application. So again, the third decile is 2360 for September 2025. You could meet all the other qualifications, but if you do not meet the UCAT cutoff, then unfortunately your offer would be revoked.
All right. Next question by Mafaz. Which month do the interviews take place?
For this year, we're hoping to start in December or, by latest January. Interviews take place on a monthly rolling basis. We usually set aside a week or two per month until all of our students have been interviewed. Then following the interview, students are made an offer or made known of their decision within 2 weeks.
All right. Hannah is also asking, are the interviews MMI?
For this year, they are not MMI. It may vary on year, but this year it is an online panel-based interview with 2 members of our clinician or academic staff.
Sarah, I think you're on mute.
Mm,
Sorry, yeah.
okay.
Next question is by Vasya. Vasya is asking that the daughter is currently doing pre-med first year in Dubai. So do you accept that?
So I don't think that that is part of the entry requirements that we accept. So I'm afraid, no, we don't.
All right.
Well, you can just explain what is IFG, so that because many of them don't know what is IFG. IFG is an international foundation group which offer the foundation, and they have got an agreement with specific universities. And we do often get students who come to us and said that we have finished our foundation and we want to go to that particular university. So my answer is that if they don't have agreement with that university, that means they are not allowed to go there. So Queen Mary is not part of this IFG, right? Okay,
All right.
good.
Hannah is just recorrecting that she meant after meeting the UCAT cutoff score, will the score itself be used for the decision making?
If the student meets the cutoff score of 2360, then yes, they would be made an interview. Sorry, they would be made an offer. We wouldn't revoke it if they have passed the UCAT. If that makes sense.
I think what the student needs, if whether we rank our students to decide who goes to interview, as we said, anybody who meets our entry requirements is guaranteed an interview. So the UCAT does not have any bearing on that as long as you meet the entry requirements.
No. One thing I think he's trying to ask that let's suppose if she get 2300 in UCAT, so will it affect the admission decision, or they are not allowed to participate in that interview? No. Suppose if somebody get less than 2360, no.
2360. So as Chanel said, if you get less than 2360, you can still be interviewed and be made an offer on the condition that you sit for the UCAT and get the 2360 and a JT entry by the 31st of July of 2025. So you'd be made a conditional offer on the UCAT.
All right. Sunita is asking, what is the amount to be paid to retain the conditional offer?
So once you've been made an offer, students must pay a deposit payment. The deposit payment will be in the offer letter, and then the tuition will be due prior to starting the course. So students are able to pay the tuition in full, or they could sign against a payment plan where they would need to pay at least 50% by enrollment and the other 50% by January of the following year.
All right. Mafaz is asking how many students will be invited to interview and how many will be given a place?
So we tend to recruit between 60 to 70 students per year. All of our students that meet the entry requirements are invited to interview. Offers are made based on the number of spaces we have left. It could be that you are not made a conditional or unconditional offer, but we also do have waiting lists in place for those that drop out later on in the application cycle. Some places may become available where we would dig into the waiting list.
All right. We have two more questions by Hannah. Hannah is asking if you could tell a bit about the type of questions in the interview.
So it's as we said, we do share an ethical scenario, and they will be asked to research that, and they will be asked questions about that. And then it's about general competency questions. We do have a video on our content hub, and students who apply are encouraged to go visit it because it's about the interview and by one of our clinical teaching fellows, and he's giving sort of tips as well on how to do well in your interview.
All right. Hannah is also asking if the student already meets the requirements, submits the transcripts, and applies now, then when is the expected interview?
So as Chanel said, we're starting in December, latest in January. So you'd be with the first batch of students to be interviewed.
Okay. A question by Khizr. Are the students offered work hours off campus?
So you can work with the student visa, you can work up to 20 hours. Us as admissions office, we also, for example, like Taylor, we do have posts of student ambassadors and student content creators as well. So students are encouraged to apply for that as well, and these are paid posts.
All right. We've answered the open questions, but if there is anything else you would like to ask students, please go ahead, type it out. Let's give our students a minute or two. Maybe in the meantime, Taylor, you can share your experience at QMUL, Malta.
Yeah. So I'm in my fourth year now at Queen Mary University in London in Malta. I was saying earlier, it's gone very fast because it's just a very busy degree, and you get to fourth year and you're like, where did all that time go? But in terms of living here and the degree itself, it's been really good because it is a really small cohort, so everyone knows everyone. We're all doing medicine together, which makes it quite nice. It's like a little family in Malta. Um, and in terms of doing things, when we finish placement, we sometimes go to the beach. There's a lot of societies that Elaine touched on earlier. So we've got the Tennis Society as one example amongst many. And also what's quite nice is on a Wednesday afternoon, nobody has class. So that day in the afternoon is really for doing your own thing. So whether that be doing art upstairs in the canteen or doing some sports, it's kind of just up to yourself. So yeah, I don't know if there's any questions in particular, but that's like a small overview of how I would describe Malta.
Yes, Taylor, I would just like to ask you, how do you compare the campus between Malta and UK, London? No, what do you think?
Well, I prefer it because it's smaller. In the UK universities, there's so many degrees going on, there's so many people. So kind of just touching on what I said before, I prefer it here because it is a little bit smaller and everyone knows everyone. So it's got, I think personally, more of a community feel to it. You know, like we're all in it together to the end.
Okay. That makes sense, no? Okay.
All right. Question by Sunita. Is there a student accommodation in the university for the first year? And if yes, what is the monthly rent for that?
So currently all our students rent privately. They rent in Victoria, so they're all within walking distance of the university usually. We do support our students when they're coming in the first year because we understand it's a very new environment. And with the help of BLSA also we give them that support needed so that we help they are assisted in finding accommodation and sort of getting over here to Malta.
All right. Question by Hannah. Are there direct flights to Malta?
This depends where you are traveling from. From Dubai, Emirates does fly directly to Malta, but they do stop in Lanarka for an hour. It doesn't mean that you need to get off the plane, but there is a stop of a layover in Lanarka. Other airlines might stop maybe in Turkey, but again, it really just depends where where the student's coming in from. There are direct flights, from Europe to Malta for sure. Just really, again, it just depends where you guys are flying in from.
All right. And Hannah is asking how to reach Victoria itself.
So, so basically, the airport is in Malta and the university is in Gozo. So from Malta to Gozo, you would take about a 40-minute car ride to the ferry terminal. Then you would take a 25-minute ferry from Chirkawa to Imjar terminal. And then from Imjar to Victoria is about a 15-minute quick car ride. Either you take a cab, there are buses as well. There is a huge bus terminal in main Victoria, and that's within walking distance to the university. Connectivity is very sufficient across both islands, I would say.
All right. Question by Sunita. Is there any specific amount for the conditional offer as the universities in UK take certain amount like 5,000 or 10,000 British pounds to hold the offer?
Currently, the deposit amount is set to €2,000. So that's what you need.
All right. Once again, we've answered the open questions. So students, if you have anything else, go ahead. If you have other questions as well later, if you'd like to apply or want to know more, I have shared the contact number and the email ID, so you can always get in touch and we can assist you further. Let's give our students a minute or two and see if they have any other questions, but I think the presentation was very detailed as well. Okay, if we do not have any other open questions, then this is where we will be, and okay, I think I got one more. Just a second. Yes, Hannah, are the offers? I think your question is not complete. Ooh, question by Hannah. Are the offers on first serve first basis?
Yes, so as Chanel said during the presentation, when once you're interviewed, so if you're applying now, you'll be interviewed in December or January. Within 2 weeks, you'll be made an offer. So it could be if you're successful at the interview, it could be either made a waiting list offer or a conditional offer, depending on your grades. So obviously, the earlier you apply, the better chance is that you'll get an offer, because then we do interviews on a rolling basis, and we'll keep on issuing offers until we meet the number. So every month we'll keep on issuing offers. So if you apply now, there's a better chance of you getting an offer.
Okay. Another question by Mafaz. If the interview is successful, how long do the students have to decide?
So this depends on when they apply, obviously. So for the first batch of interviews that we do, the closing date would be the 30th of March, if I'm not mistaken. After that, you would have 2 weeks. So after the 30th of March, any offer is done, issued, would have a 2 week sort of deciding time window, if I can call it like that. And then later on, you'll have just one day. Depends if you're applying really late. So that really depends on when you apply.
All right. Once again, all the open questions have been answered. So this is where we will be ending this session. If there's anything else you'd like to clarify or want to know more, of course, you can get in touch with us. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Miss Elaine. Thank you, Miss Chanel and Taylor as well.
Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Chanel. Thank you, Taylor, and thank you everybody for joining us now. Thank you.